On the edge of the Frigorus frontier, a frozen planet spun silently, its surface an unending stretch of ice and snow. Below the ice, beneath thick layers of frost and stone, the planet hummed with hidden currents of geothermal heat, a secret warmth in a world of cold. Jack Harrison adjusted the settings on his rover's heating system, trying to push away the creeping chill that seemed to seep into everything on this forsaken planet. The rover, affectionately dubbed Betsy, trundled across the icy landscape, her heaters working overtime. His mission was simple: survey for potential colony sites. But the desolation of Frigorus did little to inspire. As he peered out into the wide abyss, his radio crackled to life. "Base to Rover 1, do you copy?" "Over." Jack grabbed the receiver, welcoming any break from the monotony. "Rover 1 here. I read you loud and clear, Base." "Over. We're tracking a mild blizzard heading your way, Jack. Should hit in about 2 hours. Might want to wrap up and head back." "Over." "Roger that, Base. I'll start heading in soon. Just a few more miles to cover." Over and out. He was about to turn Betsy around when a strange anomaly on his radar caught his eye, a signal, weak but unmistakable, not far from his current route. Curiosity piqued. Jack adjusted his course. The signal grew stronger as he approached a small dip in the landscape, hidden from the casual observer. As he drew closer, his headlights illuminated a figure lying motionless in the snow. Jack's heart raced. He wasn't alone out here. He parked the rover and approached cautiously, thermal blanket in hand. The figure was slender, covered in thin, iridescent fabric that shimmered with a faint light. An alien, no doubt about it. Her skin was a pale blue, almost translucent, her features delicate and distinctly non-human. Jack knelt beside her, checking for signs of life. She was alive, but barely, her breath shallow and slow. Without hesitation, he wrapped her in the thermal blanket and carefully carried her back to the rover. Inside, he cranked the heat up further and placed her on the bench seat. Her eyelids fluttered, revealing bright violet eyes that fixed on Jack with an intense, if somewhat dazed gaze. "Hey, you're safe now," Jack said softly, wondering if she could even understand him. She spoke, her voice a melodic whisper, yet the language was unfamiliar, musical, and fluid, nothing like the standard languages programmed into his translator. Jack fumbled for his translator device, setting it to scan. "Can you understand me?" he asked as the device processed her speech. After a moment, the translator beeped. "Yes, I understand now," she replied, her voice weak but relieved. "Thank you. I'm Jack Harrison. What's your name? What happened?" "I am Serena," she said, her eyes scanning the confines of the rover. "My research vessel crashed. I was studying the planet's subterranean heat currents when my systems failed." Jack nodded, processing the information. "You're lucky I found you. This planet doesn't take well to visitors. Let's get you back to my base. It's warmer, and I have medical supplies." "Your kindness is unexpected," Serena murmured, a hint of wonder in her tone. Jack smiled. "Well, we humans have a few good points. Let's focus on getting you warmed up." As Betsy made her way back to the base, Jack glanced at Serena, her fragile form beginning to thaw. In the vast, frozen silence of Frigorus, the unexpected meeting kindled a spark of connection, two solitary figures against the cold. This mission, it seemed, had just become a lot more interesting. The rover bounced gently over the uneven terrain as Jack navigated Betsy through the thickening snow. The storm that Base had warned him about was beginning to swirl around him, a curtain of white reducing visibility to nearly zero. "Storm's picking up," Jack noted, his eyes focused on the instruments. "We should make it back just in time to avoid the worst of it." Serena, wrapped tightly in a thermal blanket, watched the snowflakes batter against the window. "Your planet's weather seems very hostile." Jack chuckled. "Frigorus isn't exactly friendly. But it's not my planet, just my current home base. I'm from Earth. Ever heard of it?" "A blue planet, rich in life and water," Serena replied, her voice reflecting a hint of admiration. "Yes, I know of Earth. My people consider it quite remarkable." "Remarkable, huh? I guess that's one way to put it." Jack glanced at her, intrigued. "What about you? Where are you from?" "Zifra. It's several systems away, more temperate, less volatile." The conversation helped pass the time as they made their way back. Once they reached the base, Jack helped Serena inside, immediately heading to the medical bay. The base was compact but well-equipped, with all the essentials for prolonged stays on inhospitable planets. Jack guided Serena to a seat in the medical bay, scanning her with a bioreader. Looks like you've got mild hypothermia, but you'll recover, Jack explained, administering a gentle heat therapy. Stay here and warm up. I'll get you something to eat. While Serena absorbed the warmth, Jack prepared a simple meal in the small kitchen area. He returned with 2 steaming bowls of soup and sat across from her. It'll help, he said, sliding a bowl toward her. Serena tasted the soup cautiously, then smiled. It's good, thank you. They ate in companionable silence for a few moments before Jack's curiosity got the better of him. So, a scientist, huh? What exactly were you researching out here? My focus is on geothermal activity and its potential for sustaining life in cold environments, Serena explained. The energy beneath the surface of Forgoris could be key to developing stable colonies here. That's exactly why I'm here too, Jack replied, surprised. Looking for potential colony sites. Though I must say, I didn't expect to find anyone else interested in this frozen wasteland. Our goals may align more than you think, Serena mused. Perhaps we can assist each other. Jack nodded, intrigued by the possibility. I'd like that. But first, let's get you fully recovered. After the meal, Jack showed Serena around the base, explaining the various scientific equipment and their uses. He demonstrated the central heating system, the communication setup linking them back to Earth, and his ongoing projects. As you can see, it's not much, but it's home for now, Jack concluded. Serena observed everything with an astute eye. You've adapted well to the harsh conditions here. It's impressive. Thanks. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Jack grinned. Or so we humans like to say. As they passed the window overlooking the icy expanse outside, Jack paused. It's a harsh place, but it has its moments. Sometimes you just have to look a little harder to see the beauty in it. Serena joined him at the window, peering out into the swirling snow. Perhaps, with time, I might see it too. Give it a chance. Forgoris can surprise you, Jack said, hopeful that this unexpected partnership might yield more than just scientific discovery. Together, they watched the storm outside, each lost in thoughts of what the future might hold on this remote, icy world. The beginning of a collaboration, perhaps, and the start of a new understanding between 2 very different beings. The blizzard raged outside, the howling wind a sharp contrast to the quiet warmth inside the base. Jack and Serena settled into the main living area, a small space filled with a couple of sofas and a large screen used for both entertainment and work. Should hold up well against the storm, Jack said, glancing at the reinforced windows. Built to withstand much worse than this. Serena looked around, her interest evident. Your technology is quite adaptable. We use different methods on Zifra, more harmonious with our environment. Harmonious, huh? We could probably learn a thing or two from that, Jack replied, sitting down and gesturing for Serena to join him. So, tell me more about Zifra. What's it like? She sat, tucking the blanket around her. Zifra is very green, filled with vast forests and great rivers. Our cities blend into the landscape, minimizing our ecological footprint. We prioritize living in sync with nature rather than reshaping it. That sounds beautiful. Here, it's all about survival. But I guess that shapes us, makes us who we are, Jack mused, staring at the snow blanketing everything outside. As the storm intensified, the base seemed to shrink, cocooning them in an artificial warmth that felt removed from the frigid desolation just beyond the walls. Jack decided to lighten the mood. Want to play a game? He asked, pulling out a couple of old board games from a storage unit. Help pass the time and get our minds off the weather. Serena agreed, curious. They set up a game of chess, a human game she was unfamiliar with. Jack explained the rules, and they began to play, moving the pieces across the board as Jack detailed strategies. This is a game of kings and queens, knights and rooks, all moving to protect their own while trying to outsmart the opponent, Jack explained, making a move. Serena caught on quickly, her moves becoming more confident. It's like a battle simulation, she observed, taking one of Jack's pawns. Exactly. A lot of human history involves conquering or defending, much like this game. Jack moved his queen, taking a moment to teach Serena a more complex strategy. They continued playing, the game serving as both a distraction from the storm and an educational exchange. After a long battle, Serena checkmated Jack, her face lighting up with accomplishment. Well played, Jack congratulated, genuinely impressed. You've got a knack for this. Serena smiled. Your games reflect your culture, strategic, competitive, yet profoundly intellectual. With the ice broken by their game, they spent the rest of the day sharing tales of their respective worlds. Jack pulled up images of Earth on the screen, showing Serena the blue oceans, dense forests, and sprawling cities. In return, Serena described Zifra's art and music, explaining how her people use these as forms of communication and expression, deepening their connection to each other and their planet. As evening approached, Jack prepared a simple meal, this time incorporating some of the ration adjustments to better suit Serena's dietary requirements, based on what she'd told him about Zifra nutrition. They ate together, the storm outside forgotten for the moment. "How do you feel about all this?" Jack asked as they were finishing their meal. "Being stuck here, with me, in the middle of nowhere?" Serena considered his question, looking around the cozy interior of the base. "In the beginning, I was frightened lost. But you've shown great kindness. In this place, there's a warmth here, not just from the heater, but from you." Jack laughed softly. "Glad to hear it. You know, this might be the most interesting mission I've ever been on." The blizzard continued through the night, the winds a constant hum against the outer shell of the base. Inside, two figures from vastly different worlds found common ground, their isolation forging an unexpected bond that was both human and alien, as they faced the frigid world outside together. The storm had passed, leaving a serene stillness hanging over the Fragorus base. The freshly fallen snow glittered under the weak sunlight, a peaceful scene at odds with the planet's usual harshness. Inside the base, Jack and Serena emerged from their shared experience of the storm feeling closer and more connected. As they ate breakfast, Jack proposed a plan for the day. "Since the weather's cleared up, how about we do some exploring around the base? There might be some interesting geothermal activity nearby, based on your theories." Serena nodded eagerly. "I would appreciate seeing more of Fragorus. It's beneficial for my research, and I enjoy your company." Jack smiled, pleased by her response. "Great, let's gear up and head out. I'll show you the equipment we use for geological surveys." They dressed in their thermal suits and packed the necessary equipment into the rover. As they drove away from the base, Jack pointed out various features of the landscape, explaining his past findings and ongoing projects. Over there, he gestured towards a series of small mounds. Those are ice volcanoes. Occasionally, they spew slushy water mixed with methane, pretty spectacular to watch. Serena was fascinated. "Zifra has nothing like this. Our geothermal features are more subdued. This is a valuable learning opportunity for me." They stopped near a promising site where Jack suspected underground thermal activity. Together, they set up the portable geothermal scanner, a device designed to penetrate the icy surface and analyze heat signatures below. "As we activate the scanner, it'll send vibrations through the ice and measure the seismic response," Jack explained as he adjusted the settings. "It helps us understand the subsurface structure without drilling." Serena watched the screen closely as the data started coming in. "This is impressive technology. We use similar principles, but our instruments are designed for different environments." Their discussion turned technical as they compared methodologies and instruments, each learning from the other's expertise. Jack was impressed by Serena's insights, which provided new perspectives on his own work. After collecting ample data, they returned to the base, where Jack uploaded the information to his main computer for detailed analysis. "Let's see what we've got," Jack said, initiating the software that processed the data. The screen displayed colorful graphs and maps, indicating significant geothermal activity beneath their feet. "This could be a viable site for a geothermal power plant," Serena pointed out, tracing a line on the map with her finger. "Your initial assessment was correct." Jack leaned back, pleased with the results and the collaboration. "We make a good team, you know." Serena smiled, her eyes meeting his. "Yes, we do." Encouraged by their successful outing, they spent the rest of the afternoon sharing more personal stories. Jack showed Serena some of his favorite music from Earth, playing tracks from various genres. "This one is called jazz. It's all about improvisation and feeling the moment," Jack explained as the smooth saxophone melodies filled the room. Serena listened intently, her head swaying slightly with the rhythm. "It's very expressive. There's an emotional depth to it." Motivated by the music, Jack stood and offered his hand. "May I have this dance?" At first hesitant, Serena took his hand, allowing him to lead her in a gentle sway to the music. Dancing was not common in Zifran culture, but she quickly found the rhythm, moved by the music and Jack's guidance. As the track ended, they stood there, slightly breathless and laughing at the shared joy of the moment. This date turned out to be quite memorable, Serena said, her voice warm with gratitude. Jack agreed, feeling a surge of happiness. It's not just the planet that's full of surprises. Today was a good reminder of that. Their newfound camaraderie and shared experiences had ignited a spark of genuine affection and respect, transforming their interstellar encounter into a deep and meaningful connection. In the dim light of Frigor's long dusk, Jack and Serena found themselves in the base's small library, a space lined with books and digital archives from Earth and beyond. They had decided to spend the evening sharing more about their cultures, a mutual exchange that had grown increasingly meaningful. Serena was the first to break the silence that had settled comfortably between them. Jack, on Zifra, we communicate a lot through touch, but it's different. It's about sharing energy and emotions without words. I noticed humans seem to reserve touch for certain contexts. Is that accurate? Jack nodded, intrigued by the topic. Yeah, touch can be a big deal for us. It depends on the person and the culture, really. Some are more open than others. For some, touch is comfort, affection, or a way to connect. For others, it's something to be used sparingly. As they spoke, Jack pulled a few books from the shelves, showing Serena examples of human art that depicted affection and touch across various cultures. See, like in these paintings, touch is often a central theme, representing connection, support, or even conflict. Serena examined the images closely, then responded, in Zifferan art, you might see similar scenes, but the context is more about the flow of life energy. May I show you? Please do, Jack said, stepping closer. Carefully, Serena placed her hand lightly on Jack's arm. Close your eyes. Feel, don't try to interpret. Jack did as she asked, and after a moment, he felt a warmth spreading from where her skin met his, a sensation that was surprisingly calming. That's really soothing, he admitted as he opened his eyes. It's a way of saying, I'm here with you, Serena explained, removing her hand. It's very intimate for us. Jack considered this, then deciding to share something of his own, extended his hand. Human handshake. It's a greeting, a way of saying, pleased to meet you, or we agree. Want to try? Serena smiled and accepted his hand, shaking it gently. It's firm, direct. Different, but I understand the sentiment. Encouraged, Jack then led her to a small music setup in the corner of the room. Music can be a way of touching, too, in a sense. It moves us, you know. He played a piece of classical music, the soft strains of a violin filling the room. This piece always touches my heart, makes me feel things that are hard to express in words. As the music played, they talked about the emotions it evoked, discussing how music could bridge the gaps between very different beings. It was during these moments, these exchanges, that the barriers between them seemed to dissolve, replaced by mutual curiosity and understanding. Jack, Serena began hesitantly on Zifra. Sharing a dance is also a form of touch. Would you like to try? Jack was taken aback for a moment, then nodded. I would like that very much. They stood up, and Serena took the lead this time, guiding Jack through a simple series of movements that were traditional in her culture. The dance was fluid, their movements synchronizing as they moved through the sequence. This dance is about harmony, about moving with the world and with each other, Serena explained as they swayed. It's about understanding and acceptance. Jack found himself caught up in the rhythm and the presence of his partner. The dance ended with them standing close, breaths mingling, a new layer of their friendship solidifying. Thank you, Serena, for sharing this with me, Jack said sincerely. And thank you, Jack, for being open to learning. It means more than you might realize, she replied. Their evening of sharing through touch, music, and movement drew to a close, but the connection it fostered lingered, a silent acknowledgement of their growing bond. As they said goodnight, there was a sense of closeness that hadn't been there before, a mutual respect and affection that was deepening with each shared experience. The morning light filtered softly through the windows of the base, casting long shadows across the room where Jack and Serena were having breakfast. The mood was light, the air between them filled with an easy comfort that had grown over their time together. Jack, Serena began, her tone thoughtful as she sipped her drink. I've been thinking about the concept of home. On Zifra, home isn't just a place. It's a feeling, a state of being with others. What does home mean to you? Jack paused, considering the question. I suppose for me, home has always been more about the people than the place. Like this space, it's as much a home as anywhere else because I've made it mine. But without someone to share it with, it's just a shelter, not really a home. That's a beautiful way to put it, Serena said, smiling warmly. I feel something similar here with you. Encouraged by their deepening bond, Jack decided to spend the day showing Serena some of the base's external operations, which included the maintenance of the energy systems and environmental controls. They dressed warmly and headed outside, where the frigid air was a stark reminder of the planet's hostility. As they walked towards the energy converters, Jack explained, these systems are crucial for converting geothermal heat into usable energy for the base. It's pretty straightforward, but keeping them running can be a challenge in these conditions. Serena, intrigued, watched closely as Jack demonstrated the process. Your ability to harness such raw, natural power is impressive. We use similar technology, but our methods are adapted to our environment's milder conditions. Jack handed her a tool. Want to give it a try? The adjustments are delicate, but I think you'll get the hang of it quickly. With a nod, Serena took the tool and followed Jack's instructions, her hands steady even in the cold. Working together, they fine-tuned the system, their breaths visible in the air as they talked and laughed, the task at hand drawing them closer. After finishing their work, they took a short walk along a nearby ridge, overlooking a vast expanse of ice and snow. It's beautiful in its own stark way, Jack said, his gaze sweeping the landscape. It is, Serena agreed. I can see why you find it compelling here. There's a purity to it, a clarity. They stood in silence for a moment, each lost in thought. Jack broke the quiet, his voice soft. You know, I never expected to find someone like you out here, someone who could see the beauty in this place. Serena turned to him, her expression gentle. Nor did I expect to find someone who would try so hard to understand me, to learn about where I come from. Their conversation drifted to more personal topics as they headed back to the base. Inside, they shared a meal, this time prepared by Serena, who had started to adapt human recipes with a Zifferin twist. This is my way of sharing my home with you, Serena said as they ate. It's a traditional dish, modified to suit the ingredients we have. Jack tasted the dish, finding it delicious and exotic. You made this place feel more like a home today, he admitted, grateful. As they cleared away the dishes, Jack felt a compelling urge to express how much her presence had changed his life. Serena, these past days with you, they've changed the way I see everything. This mission, this planet, my life. Serena reached out, her hand brushing his. And you have shown me a kindness that feels like home. Maybe home isn't a place, but where there is mutual understanding and warmth. Their hands lingered together, a symbol of their shared warmth and affection. In the cold, remote world of Forgoris, they had found something unexpected and profoundly human, a sense of home, not in a place, but in each other. The cold Forgoris night was at its peak outside, a stark contrast to the warmth within the confines of the base where Jack and Serena found themselves sitting close together on the sofa, a soft blanket draped over them. The mood was intimate, fueled by the deep conversations and shared experiences of the past days. Jack turned to Serena, his voice hesitant yet sincere. I've been thinking a lot about us, about how different our lives are, and yet how close I feel to you. It's a bit overwhelming. Serena nodded, her eyes reflecting the soft light of the room. I feel it too, Jack. There's a connection between us, something powerful and unexpected. I'm not sure what to make of it, given everything. Taking a deep breath, Jack decided to embrace the moment fully. Sometimes you don't need to make anything of it. Maybe it's just about experiencing it, living in it. With a gentle hand, Jack reached out, brushing a strand of hair from Serena's face. She closed her eyes briefly at the touch, then looked at him with a profound affection. The air between them was charged with emotional intensity that neither could deny. Serena moved closer, her voice soft. On Zifra, when we feel a deep connection, we share it through a bond that is both physical and emotional. It's how we express passion. Jack's heart raced as he listened, his own human instincts mingling with a desire to understand her completely. Show me, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Slowly, they leaned into each other, their lips meeting in a tender, exploratory kiss that quickly deepened. The initial hesitation melted away as instinct and emotion took over, guiding their actions. Jack's hands found Serena's waist, pulling her closer, while Serena's arms wrapped around his neck, drawing him in. The kiss was a discovery of taste and texture, a blending of human and Zifferin expressions of affection that was both exhilarating and comforting. They broke apart only to catch their breaths, their foreheads resting against each other. Is this how humans share passion? Serena asked, a curious glimmer in her eyes. It's one way, Jack replied, chuckling softly. But it can be more, if you want it to be. Serena nodded, her face a mixture of curiosity and desire. I would like to understand more, to feel more. With mutual understanding and a shared desire, they stood hand in hand and walked to Jack's quarters. The room was dimly lit, the ambience a soft echo of the warmth they felt. Together, they explored each other's presence, each touch a narrative of their feelings, each kiss a deepening of their bond. As they moved together in a gentle rhythm, their physical connection echoed the emotional bonds they had formed, each movement a statement of their affection and trust. The warmth between them grew, the cold alien world outside forgotten, as they focused solely on the here and now. Afterward, they lay together, wrapped in each other's arms, the silence comfortable and filled with a contentment neither had expected to find on this remote planet. Jack stroked Serena's hair, pondering the incredible turn their relationship had taken. Left to freeze, the alien maiden is warmed by human passion, Jack murmured, the words a gentle acknowledgement of their profound connection. Serena lifted her head to look at him, a soft smile playing on her lips. And the human has discovered a warmth unknown, shared through Zephyrin affection. Their laughter mingled, a sound of pure joy and contentment that filled the room, sealing their connection. A bond formed not just of physical passion but of emotional depth and interstellar understanding. The early light of dawn cast a pale glow across the snowy landscape of Fregoris, signaling the start of a new day. Inside the base, Jack and Serena sat at the small dining table, each nursing a cup of warm beverage. The air between them was thick with unspoken thoughts about the future. Serena broke the silence first, her voice soft but steady. Jack, I've been contacted by my people. They've repaired my ship remotely and will be here to retrieve me soon. Jack set his cup down, his eyes meeting hers. I figured this day would come, but I hoped we'd have more time. How long do you have? A few days, maybe less, Serena replied, her voice tinged with sadness. Jack reached across the table, taking her hand. Then let's make the most of them. I don't know what comes next, but I know what we have now is real. Serena squeezed his hand, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I've never felt anything like what I feel with you, Jack. It's hard to think about leaving this, leaving you. Jack stood, pulling her to her feet. Come on, let's not waste our last days moping around. There's still so much I want to show you. Together, they bundled up and headed outside. Jack led Serena to a spot he hadn't shown her before, a secluded overlook with a panoramic view of the icy plains and distant mountains. It's beautiful, Serena breathed, taking in the view. It is, Jack agreed, standing close to her. I come here to think, to clear my head. I wanted to share it with you. They spent the day there, talking about everything and nothing, laughing and occasionally falling into thoughtful silence. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the ice, they returned to the base, their spirits lifted despite the looming goodbye. That evening, as they prepared dinner together in the compact kitchen, Jack said, I've been thinking about what you said about home. How it's more than just a place. You've made this cold planet feel like home to me. Serena smiled, wiping her hands on a towel. And you've shown me that home can be found in a person, not just in a location. Jack, wherever I go, I'll carry a piece of this place, this time with me. After dinner, they settled in the living area, neither wanting to mention the departure. Instead, they chose to watch a classic Earth movie, sharing the warmth of each other's company. As the credits rolled, Jack turned to Serena, his expression earnest. I don't know if we'll ever see each other again, but I want you to know, you've changed my life in ways I can't even begin to express. Serena leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. And you've given me memories I'll cherish forever, Jack. Perhaps, in another life, another universe, we'd have a chance to see where this could go. The next morning, as Serena's people arrived to take her back, Jack and Serena shared one final embrace, holding each other tight. Words were superfluous. Their eyes said everything. I won't say goodbye, Jack murmured as they parted. Let's just say, until next time. Serena nodded, her smile bittersweet. Until next time, Jack. Thank you for everything. As the ship carrying Serena disappeared into the sky, Jack felt a profound sense of loss but also gratitude for the unexpected and beautiful interlude they had shared. He watched until the ship was just a speck against the vast blue expanse, a silent promise in his heart that he would never forget her. Back inside the base, Jack returned to the overlook alone, feeling both the emptiness of her absence and the fullness of the memories they had created. For Goris was once again just a cold, remote outpost, but for Jack, it would always be the place where he had found and lost a remarkable connection